Yes, of course. We're modeling through 2026 and into 2027. We think, the momentum that's built over the course of 2025, even what we're seeing in Q4 results right now, is setting the stage for more of an acceleration in 2026. And so if we can just get a little bit of peace and calm on the purple haze policy front, maybe given today's talk about the weather, it's a blizzard of policy uncertainty, the market can refocus on the underlying fundamentals. And we think the underlying fundamentals are really strong and set the stage for another strong year.
So, Amanda, let's go to the fundamentals here. Earnings, we're just kind of getting into the thick of earnings season here. We had really strong earnings in 2025. What's your outlook for this quarter and this year?
Well, the consensus expectation for earnings growth kept moving higher over the course of the fourth quarter. And so we started out earnings season with just base expectation of a little bit more than 8%. And again, you said it's early. I'll agree with that. We have a lot more reports to come in, but I think there is potentially some upside to that expectation, even though there's been a lot of positive revisions and momentum behind it. So we're looking at another, maybe 14, 15% earnings growth for all of 2026. There's a long way to go to get from here to there, but certainly at current valuation levels, that's not going to be the driver of the market. We really think the underlying fundamentals will be. So if you're only going to look at one thing this year and try and dial out the blizzard of policy uncertainty or purple haze, focus on the path of earnings growth. I think that's what matters the most.
Is that kind of what's going to drive performance this year? I mean, as opposed to multiple expansion, it feels like pretty richly valued here across the market, broadly defined.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great point. We've been talking to our investors a lot about, are we in a bubble? Is it frothy? What other adjective you want to use? I think it's just fascinating that at this time last year, we were basically at the same forward PE on the S&P 500. And then we finished out the year basically in the same place. So no multiple expansion last year, but 18+% returns on the S&P 500, not too shabby. So I think that's the story again for this year. A little bit of deja vu. It's not a story of valuation multiple expansion. It's really just the path for earnings.
Amanda, in Davos, they say vous jadez, just so you're aware of that as well.
Noted.
Stay with us. Amanda Agati with PNC Financial. We're thrilled she could be with us today here on the equity markets. Is bounce. We were up 40, futures up 38 right now. That VIX 16.10. There's some real nuances in currency. Thank you, Jane Foley. We've got Audrey Child-Friedman coming up as well. You say, well, I don't want to follow it. Well, guess what? You got to. It's a litmus paper of the system. Amanda, where you are, do you need a weak dollar to make international stocks have year two?
Oh, that's another great question. I mean, I hope not, right? I mean, that was such a story last year of how weak the U.S. dollar was. I think it was a lot more than certainly what we and other market participants expected. But there were some signs of life in terms of the fundamentals for international.
Okay.
So there was a thesis there.
Right.
It's not just a currency trade. I think it's going to be hard to put up, accelerating momentum in fundamentals this year.
My head's spinning. Does President Trump, Ms. Agati, does President Trump want a weak dollar or a strong dollar? Remember James Baker?
Yes.
We want a strong dollar policy. We're going to have a strong dollar. What does he want? A weak dollar or a strong dollar?
I don't know. I'd love to plead the fifth on that question, but I think, how about a stable dollar, right? I'll take sort of the middle of the road there. I don't think it does us or any of our trading partners or the market any favors to have pretty big swings in either direction. So our view is that, that decline on a relative basis in the U.S. dollar should stabilize this year. It's not going to be a huge rally. Most of the decline has already happened. So I think that takes a lot of the currency challenges out of navigating, multi-asset portfolios and positioning this year. But I think stability should be the name of the game here. But there's a lot of, again, purple haze of policy uncertainty around it.